Okay, what is up, everyone? We are back for the first live stream of 2025, and it is January 4th of 2025. So if you're watching this at 9:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is live. I am your host of this live stream. My name is Param. We've been doing this for well over 4.5 years now. And I'm really excited to get this one going because this is a time that a lot of people are excited, enthusiastic, hoping for something in their life, anything in their life to change and to finally be able to live the life that they want to live. Yet, despite of all of those sincere and beautiful desires, people fail to meet those. And today we want to kind of just call it what it is, and let's just call out our collective flaw of humanity of being unable to follow through with those things in life that we want to follow through with, because being a human being is hard. And hopefully helping you navigate through. So I hope the end of the year was good for you. I know the end of the year for me and my family, mom and dad's right there. It's kind of like a pretty weird, bittersweet. My brother's birthday, rest in peace, is December 31st. So, but it's okay. It's all a perspective thing. So, it was just kind of one of those days that we got through, and here we are, stronger than before, and we'll see how it goes. So today's talk, and by the way, so my name is Param. I have a master's degree in marriage and family therapy. I'm licensed as an advanced alcohol and drug counselor. I've been in the recovery space. I call it the healing and transformation space. It's more than drugs and alcohol, since June 13th in 2008. And for that, I'm grateful. And pretty much what we do here every week is we talk about different things to help you get to where you are, to where you want to be in life. Now, whether that's related to your relationships with people in your life that you care for, whether it's about your relationship with yourself, whether about your goals, your dreams, your hopes, ambitions, whatever it is. And the only X factor that helps people get from where they are to where they want to be is this thing called personal development. Now, if you've been following this station for the past 4.5 years, you know that I've done this talk numerous times, but here we are again, the beginning of the year, and the need to have this talk again resurfaces, because the only way for your life to get better is for you to get better. Now, I didn't say that. Someone much smarter than me that said that. But if you want your life to get better, you have to get better. It doesn't say your son has to get better, your daughter has to get better, your spouse has to get better, your parent has to get better. All that stuff you might think is the reason why you're not happy and content. It's not the way life works, my friends. You know how many human beings I've helped or seen in the recovery process get their stuff around and their parents are still miserable? Well, I thought if your kid gets sober, everything's going to be okay. Oh, you mean you still have your own problems from your own childhood? You still have marital problems with your spouse? You still have financial stress? Even though your kid's sober, you're still not happy? I thought they were intertwined. And people quickly realize that, hey, yeah, I want everyone in my life to be healthy, but that doesn't mean their health is going to be my happiness. I know parents say that, as long as my kids are good, then I'll be good. I'm telling you, I know it's an honorable thing to say, and I get it. I get it I know what that means. I know the thought process behind it. However, I'm telling you, I know countless, probably at this point in my life, I can say thousands of parents, that their kids or their loved ones got better and they didn't feel any different. So take that as you may. And let's talk about this talk on personal development. Abita, Happy New Year. Jess, is that you? Yep. What's up? So let's get into it. When talking about personal development, I created an acronym system that I've been sharing now for multiple years, and here we go. The D of development is this thing called decide. And I have the word decide written on that screen in the corner. So when you think about making a decision in life and deciding, what does that mean to you? Well, it means that I choose to do something. That's what most people say. I choose to do something. I decide and I choose it. Okay, well, let's dig a little bit deeper. Look at the word decide. It ends with what? C-I-D-E. What other words in the English language end with C-I-D-E? Let's go with a few. Suicide, homicide, genocide, pesticide, Homicide means to kill off another person. Suicide means to kill off self. Genocide means to kill off a group or race of people. Pesticide means to kill off bugs, insects, rodents. So when you make a decision and decide to do something in life, it's not that you're choosing it. It means you're killing off all the other options. So that's the only option left. If you decide to go to the gym, you kill off the option of laying in bed. If you decide to get sober, you kill off the option of using drugs. If you decide to end a relationship, you kill off the possibility of going back to that toxic hellhole. Decisions and decides are something that are not based on emotions. They're not based on like feeling like you need to do it. It's because you know you have to do it, even if it's a tough decision, right? So CIDE means to kill something off. So for those of you who have been your super codependent enablers for the past few years, when you make a decision and decide to stop enabling, it means you kill off the option of enabling. It's not like, oh, I'm only going to do it right now because I'm strapped. But if I had a little bit more money, then I'll help my kid out. Now, at some point, these decisions got to be real. The next one we got here is something called eagerness, excitement. So the best way I can kind of show you what that looks like in a way that most people understand is like whether your kids or yourself got wind that summer vacation's coming around and you're planning on going to your first amusement park, Disneyland, Universal Studios, Magic Mountain. You know that night before the children don't sleep, man, they're counting down the seconds. I mean, kids probably did this for Christmas recently. They get so excited. And what happens to that innocence, that excitement, that eagerness, that enthusiasm that we all had as children? I get it. Life came and just knocked us out. Life came and just gave us an experience that just knocked the wind out of us. But I'm telling you, if you want your life to get better, you have to be excitement. You have to have excitement. You have to be eager. You have to be enthusiastic for those changes to happen in your life. Like if you have these goals for yourself in 2025 and you're not excited to accomplish them, guess what? You're not going to accomplish them. And you might be like, how do you know? How dare you judge me without even knowing me? I don't have to judge you. I can just judge humanity. The people that are excited to change, change. And the people that just want to change, but they're not excited, don't. Simple as that. So the second part is you got to make sure you have some eagerness and excitement, some enthusiasm. Now, the next one we have here is you want to make sure that in this course of development that you understand your values. Why are they important? Well, our values are like fingerprints. We leave them on every single thing that we touch. So I can have a 5 to 10 minute conversation with any of you, and I will know quickly what your values are, what is important to you, what your standards are. Just by asking you, tell me what you do each day. Simple as that. And again, you might say, how dare you judge me? You think I'm that easy to figure out? Well, you know what? I won't even tell you those things. Well, that tells me another one of your values. It tells me that kind of keeping things close and protecting, a lot of stuff is important to you, which also tells me that you probably experienced some type of pain and trauma in your life. So our values are important. Some of you have them identified and some of you don't. I strongly suggest if you want your 2025 to get better, identify your values and make them the way that you live your life. Make them your compass. Make them the way that you navigate through challenges in life. See, the more you know your values and are aligned with your actions with those values, the healthier you're going to feel. It's called congruence. When the insides and outsides match. If I say my value is hard work and I'm laying on a couch all day and they don't match, I'm not going to feel good. If I say my value is honesty and I lie, it's not going to feel good. But if I match my actions and my values together, it's the most empowered state a human being can be. Okay. What's up, Jim? What's up, Johnny? Good to see you guys. The next one we have here is something called expectations. I'm saying this before 2025 really gets going. If you think that 2025 is going to be better than 2024, just because you had a bad 2024 or because you want 2025 to be better, Unfortunately, I have to be the bearer of bad news. It's not going to get better on its own. And you might say, well, it can't get any worse. Oh, yes, it can. Every bottom in life has a basement. Every difficult challenge we go through, man, it could get worse. And if you want your 2025 to get better, then I want to set a clear expectation. What are you going to do? How are you willing to live your life? How are you going to engage with the day-to-day, the week-to-week, the month-to-month of 2025 to ensure that your life is going to get better? How are you going to be intentional and deliberate with your growth? Because if you're not, it won't. And you might say, well, I'm due for one. I'm a good person. It's about time I get something good happening to me in my life. Do you know how many good people on this planet exist? Even if you're the type that says there's just as many bad people as good people, right? Some people say that. Well, we got 9 billion people. So that means there's 4.5 billion good people on this earth. Just because you're a good person doesn't mean your life's going to get better. You might be a good person, get some, good karmic power energy out of it and live a content life. But it doesn't mean you're going to improve in like your health, your emotions, your job, your relationships, your communication. It just doesn't work that way. So don't have the expectation that just because it's a new year, new me, new who, all that kind of stuff is going to change stuff. What did Jim say here? Expectations are not a good way to live life. Actions are what define us. Yeah, I mean, it's okay to have like a idea of where our actions are taking us to, but we're not in the business of like the results. We just do the work, and whatever happens with the results happens. That's kind of where things like faith kick in. But for most of you, I just really want to clarify that like new year, new me, all that kind of stuff, it's just BS. There's no such thing. You are the same person you are. And are you willing to improve upon which you are on a day-to-day basis? Maybe at the end of the year, you could say there's a new version of me, but not in the beginning of the year. Before doing the work to become a new version of yourself, don't say new me, new year, and all that kind of stuff. Some people get set up for failure. Now, the next one is this thing called lifestyle. And you really want to look at your life in all areas and see, how do I live it? So you look and explore your day. You wake up in the morning. What do you do? How do you go about your day? Who are the people in which you spend your free time with? How are you at work? Are you motivated? Are you engaged? Are you just watching the clock? Are you on Indeed looking for other jobs? When you get off work, what do you do? How do you take care of your mind, your body, your spirit? When you look at the, materialism, consumerism, all that kind of stuff, where are you at with it? You always feel like you're trying to get something new that you need in life. How are you in your personal relationships, your communications? How are you in your sleep hygiene, the way you fall asleep at night? How are you with your drug and alcohol consumption? You really want to look at your lifestyle. And if your lifestyle is not like pretty good, I'm not going to say perfect because, who are we? And how do we even meet that expectation? But if your lifestyle is not like relatively 80% and higher, really good, how do you expect that with that type of lifestyle, you're going to get an above average life experience? A fair question. Some people kind of just like live a very average, mundane, dull, unhealthy, unproductive life. And they sit back resentful and frustrated because they don't get the relationships, the body, the health, the sleep, the mindset, the emotions that they really want in life. Well, why would you? Why should you? I mean, that's not even fair to the people that do it. And you might think, well, they do it because they don't have all the problems we have. Yes, they do, man. I like habits and routines and structure. And like whether I was going to the gym in the morning or doing like spin classes or doing yoga, or now it's obviously pickleball. I'm telling you, man, it's the same damn people every single day at the same time. Like if I was doing 5:30 a.m. spin classes or 6 a.m. yoga classes or 5 p.m. pickleball classes or whatever the hell I'm doing, it's the same people over and over and over and over again. You don't think those people have issues and problems and challenges in their life? See, they just prioritize their lifestyle differently. They prioritize doing the class and then dealing with life, rather than dealing with life, and if they have any energy or desire, enthusiasm afterwards, to do the class. It's all about how you prioritize these things. So your 2025 for it to change is going to kill off a lot of 2024. I can't make that decision for you. You either kill it or you don't. The next one we have is this thing called overcoming negative beliefs. Many of us have been conditioned to believe and to think that in life we cannot do certain things. Well, I'm telling you this. There is nothing in life that you cannot learn or do or become pretty damn good in, proficient in, if you spent about an hour each day for that. And you might think, well, that's bullshit. I can't do it. So you're telling me if I practice like a piano for an hour a day that I can go and I can play in a concert hall? Man, I didn't say that. I just said if you practice piano every day and you don't know how to play piano, after about a year, you could play a whole damn song, maybe even play like a song by a man named Mozart. You ain't going to sound like Mozart, but you could play a song that if someone listens, they're like, I think he's playing Mozart. An hour a day. If you spend an hour a day working on your physical body, I'm not going to say you can stand on stage and go be in a competitive physique competition, but someone looks at you and says, that person takes care of their body. If you spend an hour a day learning a new skill like communication, I'm not going to say you're going to stand like Tony Robbins in front of a big ass crowd and be able to captivate an audience of 10,000 people, but you'll be in your little family gathering at dinner or at a meeting at work, and you'll be able to speak more proficiently and become more effective in your communication skills. But we think that because we try things a few times and they don't work, that I just can't do it. It's just not for me. Those are called overcoming negative beliefs. And also, if you're a kid growing up and you had a critical parent telling you, you can't do this, you're not going to be good at this, you won't accomplish this, well, man, that's going to be set in your mind and you're going to believe that shit. You know, unfortunately, society doesn't really help us too much with this kind of stuff. You know, society tells us, you know, you could be whoever you want to be in life. And then as soon as you say you want to be an artist or a musician, they say, no, you got to be an accountant or an engineer. It's like, oh, dude, like, I don't even like that kind of stuff, but that's the safe route. They say you can be with whoever you want to be in life, and you pick this person and they might be a different background or race or ethnicity. They're like, no, you can be with anyone else besides that person. You know, it's all messed up. But you got some negative beliefs about yourselves, and please start to identify them and overcome them. Everything is doable with hard work and optimism. Been there, still there. Yep. You know, it's I like how Jim added. And by the way, if you guys, I mean, you all probably know Jim at this point, but you know, he's been with us for about 9 years. I'd say with me for 9 years, you know, at our place, and it transformed, I don't know, 900 lives in the process. But it's when he says something there that really stands out to me. He says everything is doable with hard work, because that's what we hear, right? If you work hard enough, you'll be able to do it. But he has an "and" in there that I think is just as important as the hard work part. See, optimism is like the belief that the actions I'm doing, the hard work I'm doing, will pay off on some level. And that's a piece I think, and I'm just talking out loud, but I'm processing as I'm going. That's what I think a lot of people are missing. They don't believe that what they're doing is going to help them get there. They just think, oh, well, I'm doing the hard work. And as soon as they don't get there when they think they're supposed to get there, another expectation thing, right? They don't, like 6 months goes by and they're not there yet. They're like, I knew this shit doesn't work. What if it's 7 months it would have worked out? What if it 8? What if it a year? People give up so quickly. You know, it's like almost the adolescent mind of adults. You tell a teenager they got to work 4 years to get something. They're like, wow, that's a quarter of my life, or something like half of my life. But to an adult, you tell them you got to work a year to get something. They're like, can't do it. Life is too hard. You know, so please put that into consideration. The next one I have here is something called the power of planning. Let's give a quote by Mr. John Wooden, one of the greatest coaches of all time. He said, if you fail to plan in life, then you're better off planning your failure. So if you fail to plan, then plan to fail. And how many people do not plan accordingly? Like some people have these ideas of what they want their 2025 to be like in 2025, I want to be healthier. I want to eat better. I want to go to the gym. I want to lose weight. And I want to find the love of my life. Okay. Sorry for that voice. I know it sounded like I was making fun of some people. And you say, okay, cool, man. That's beautiful. And I hope you accomplish all of those. So what's your plan? How do you plan on getting there? Oh, I don't know. It's just kind of like, first I want to put it out there and then I'll just see what happens. In that moment, I know that none of those will come true. You know, if you don't legitimately plan on how you're going to, it's kind of like saying like, in 2025, I want to go on a road trip. I'm like, oh, cool. That's beautiful. Well, where are you going? I don't know. Just a road trip sounds good. Oh, how do you plan on getting there? Are you going to drive? Nah, I don't know. I'll just find a way to get there. You know, that whole like doing things on a whim and being spontaneous, as some people like. Spontaneity is cool and all, but I've yet to meet someone like a highly successful person. I'm not even talking about money, my friends, so don't think I'm like that shallow to only equate success with money. But I've never met a person that's successful on any level that is just like spontaneous and goes with the flow. Not once. And you might think to yourself, well, I don't like to be someone that's structured and rigid, and I like to have freedom. That's cool. It wasn't like a two-sided conversation that I was like wanting to hear what's on the other side. All I'm saying is I've never met someone that is highly successful, that is super spontaneous and just goes with the flow. That's all. So if you are someone that likes to just go with the flow and you're sitting around looking at your life saying, why am I not where I want to be? Maybe the problem isn't you, and it's the problem that you have with your lack of planning in life. If you fail to plan, then plan to fail. People oftentimes wake up in the morning. I just did this group for our clients, program participants. This morning, woke them up 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning, forced them to sit here and listen to me ramble. And some of them are, you know, they got their blankets on them, their hoodies, and they're like laying there and like they're on their little cell phones like this, as if I can't see if they're looking down. Can you imagine? Like, what else would someone be doing if they're staring at their hands with like a blanket over it, right? But you know what they're thinking in their head? I wonder what I'm going to do today. And I will say to all of them, actually, I did tell them all, if you don't know what you're doing today, you're not doing shit. Because trying to figure out what your day is once the day starts is like changing the flat tire of a moving car. Okay? So if you don't do it when it starts, then when do you plan your day? The night before the day has started. So when I wake up in the morning, I know exactly what it is I got to do, when I have to do it, how I got to do it, why I want to do it, how it's going to feel when I accomplish it. I know all that stuff because I planned accordingly. And for my spontaneous ones who are still having a hard time saying, I don't want to plan my life out because I want to feel free. My free spirits, they call them. You know what? Schedule out your entire week of all the things you got to do. Put some blocks, block out some blocks of time. And in those blocks of times, you can do whatever you want to do. Be as spontaneous as you want to be. Be a free bird. I call it planned spontaneity. How about an oxymoron right there? Planned spontaneity. And if that still feels too structured for you, I don't know, then just be spontaneous. And whenever you feel like it, go do the things you want to do in life and tell me how that works. Okay. The next one we have is this thing called mindset. Mindset is everything. Do you use your mind, or does your mind use you? Fair question. I didn't come up with that. Someone much smarter than me, Eckhart Tolle, came up with that. Do you use your mind, or does your mind use you? Well, if you're sitting around and your mind is constantly going to the future and freaking you out, future tripping about things that may or may not happen, events that may or may not take place, conversations that may or may not occur, and it causes you anxiety. Or you go in the past and you're thinking about the things that someone did or said to you, and the things that you did or didn't do, and the guilt and the shame and the traumas you've endured, and the paralysis and the PTSD that comes with that level of thinking. Your mind is using you in the present moment. But if you use your mind, you start to learn how to, we're never going to be able to control all our thoughts. You know, that's insane. But you'll be able to observe thoughts and not attach to them. You'll be able to use your mind to think, not have your mind just flood you with thoughts. You might be able to use your mind to solve problems rather than just have your mind be paralyzed, a form of mental paralysis of your past. What's your mindset like? What's your mindset for 2025? Because if your mindset hasn't changed, 2025 will not change. And again, there's someone that's probably logged on right now, like, who is this guy? I don't like the way he looks. He's telling me if my 2025 is not going to change, I'll show him. Well, if you do, that probably means your mindset changed. And if you don't come back and show me, I'm going to assume what happens to 98% of human beings is that by the second or third week of January, they realize that nothing's different. They are not different. Nothing is different. Their goals aren't going to get accomplished. Their challenges in their life aren't going to get easier. And this is like, I'm a mental health clinician. I know data. I know statistics. I'm a teacher at a community college. I'm a professor. None of this shit I'm saying is just like personal opinion. I've witnessed it thousands of times. I've seen the data, the research on why people's lives don't change. Because they don't change. You know, if everybody really got what they wanted out of life because they were a good person, then, like I said, 4.5 billion people should have everything they want in life. You know, it's a good way to look at it. The next one is this thing called every day. So if you want your life to get better, you must do something for that change every day. Because how often are you doing the things in your life that you don't want to do? Probably every day. So imagine every day you're doing something in life you don't want to do. Sleeping in, eating like shit, using substances, going through anger tantrums. And now you want it to get better. So imagine the scale. If I don't do something for that change every day, it's never going to overcome it. If I only do it 2 days on, it's like, bam. 3 days on, bam. Every day. And you might say, man, every day is too hard. I just need a break. Well, changing your life is going to be hard. Man, we've had this talk here before that it's all hard. Like going to the gym is hard, right? Waking up, prioritizing going to the gym is hard. Not going to the gym day after day, week after week, month after month, and having the impact that it has on your mind, your body, your spirit, your soul, that's also hard. One is going to make you stronger. One makes you weaker. They're both freaking hard. You got to see what it is you're trying to get out of this. Transforming your life in 2025 is going to be hard. It's going to be one of the hardest things you've ever had to do. You're the starting line of this right now. And it's like, sometimes people say, well, I just don't know what to do or how to do it. Listen to this talk from the beginning, and I'm telling you what you got to do. Go do a little research, or even better, ask people that have accomplished what you're trying to accomplish, and say, how'd you do it? They're going to tell you, and now it's up to you is, can you follow that? There's a book I'll recommend called The Tools of the Titans. Tools of Titans. It's a big, massive book by Tim Ferriss, and he interviews like very, very, very high productive, successful people in different kind of industries and fields, and kind of the top thought leaders and top like physical specimens and top brains and all that kind of stuff. And he asked them, tell me about your day. What do you do? How do you live your life? And the book is right there. It tells you what to do to be like that. But people say, a little too much for me. I prefer to start my day the way I start my day. Okay, you're going to have the life that you have. And then, by the way, so some people might be saying, why are you talking so much negative towards the life we have? I've worked really hard to get the life I have, and I'm content with it. Well, obviously, this talk isn't for you then. It's like, congratulations. Well, share with other people what it is you've done, because I know it hasn't been easy. For someone to say they're content with their life and how they live their life and they're grateful, that tells me that they've endured and overcome a lot. That tells me that they've done the work. Because we can all tap into that feeling. The reasons why we can't is because of all the unprocessed work that needs to be done. Next one we have is this thing of learning how to say no in life. Gosh, I mean, if I could tell you one way that your 2025 gets better is by learning how to say no. Learning how to say no to your desires. Learning how to say no to certain people in your life. Learning how to say no to your cravings, just learning how to say no. You say, what do I do if I say no? How am I going to function? How am I going to process? Well, that's the beauty of it, my friends. You figure it out. You learn a new way in which you can live your life. And my hope is that you become empowered enough to learn how to say no on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes people say, well, if I say no to my loved ones, they're going to think I don't love them as much or I don't care. I'll tell you this, that if your friends and loved ones don't know you well enough, I'm not talking to any children here, I'm talking to adults. If your friends and loved ones don't know you well enough that by you saying no for an entire year to the things you typically say yes to, they say, oh my God, he doesn't love us, she doesn't love us, she doesn't care, they don't know you in the first place. Like if I said no to my mom and dad about a bunch of things, they're not gonna be like, oh, he's changed so much, he's an asshole. Like, oh, he's probably setting some boundaries for a reason. He's probably got some thing that he's trying to get done because they know me. So don't be afraid of saying no and the judgment, the perceived judgment you're going to get from other people. The problem is sometimes people just don't want to say no because it's easier to say yes. It's easier to say yes in life, you know? And the very last one, if you want your 2025 to get better, this thing break right here? Oh no. If you want your 2025 to get better, accomplish your goals with other people. So there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. And maybe find an accountability person that you can do this with, whether you want to go to support groups, whether you want to go to the gym, whether you want to create a diet meal plan together, where you want to go on just walks, you know, create a person in your life that could be your accountability partner. Data research shows that people that have an accountability partner are, 70% more likely, 80% more likely to actually do what it is that they want to do. So let's lean on that data, lean on that research, get it done, and let's have a good 2025. Listen to this talk again if you wonder what you need to do to make your goals become a reality. And outside of that, I love and appreciate you. I'm going to do a little bit better with posting a schedule on our Facebook and our YouTube for all the upcoming live streams, so there's no confusion. I got to balance it out with my personal and pickleball life, but I will do my best to put the schedule up there. I will put the schedule up there. It's one of my goals, and love and appreciate all of you. See you soon. Bye, everyone.